Mr. Anup Vadva. He is director at Automation Industry Association. Coming from an engineering background in electrical and electronics, he is an alumnus of IIT Delhi. His passion for digital electronics started in college and later took him to an exciting career in industrial automation. He is an evangelist of the Samarth Udyog ecosystem, an initiative of the Ministry of Heavy Industry. Today, Mr. Anup will give us a brief view of automation and digitalization convergence for smart manufacturing. So, delegates, let's welcome Mr. Anup.
I'm going to talk on what is called the automation and digital convergence because my focus will really be in the area of manufacturing. As you all know that, now we as a country have realized that our growth engine in terms of industry as well as growth in employment will come basically from the manufacturing sector. And when the agricultural economy goes to industrialization, it goes through the value chain through the manufacturing ecosystem. And while automation is prevalent in every area, I come from the field of industrial automation, and therefore my limited talk will be on the area of smart manufacturing. So we are all now in the area of the fourth industrial revolution. I don't need to go through the history of this. What I do want to share is that the term Industry 4.0 started about a decade back. And it was a high-tech strategy to bring the German industry and German academia, ahead of, the industrialization. And therefore, it came as an initiative of the German government. And the focus there was different. We in India need to recognize what our focus will be. So just again to sort of introduce what are the pillars of Industry 4.0. These are typically, 9 pillars, or, people can word them differently. And basically, it talks about how automation and digitalization will create the factory of the future. That really has been the pillar of Industry 4.0, talking about smart factories. Now, I'm not very sure whether strategies like these are appropriate in terms of copy and paste for a developing country like India. And here I want to kind of share with you one of the slides our member company had projected in the World Economic Forum, that the challenges faced not only by India but by other developing countries are quite different from, what the Germans or the Americans or the Japanese or the advanced economies are facing. So don't need to go into detail of all of these parameters, but I think just a look at this slide will tell you that we need to engage in areas and priorities which are equally important, if not more important than manufacturing. So where am I heading? What I'm saying is that the choice between automation and digitalization is to be made on the basis of what the technology is going to impact. In automation, when I automate a factory, when I automate a machine, I'm using technology to do more with less people, right? But in digitalization, I have the option to use technology to do more with more people. So this is why I have chosen the topic of convergence between these two paths. Let me explain a little more. See, if you look at the population and the working age and the numbers between the developed economies and the developing economies, you can notice a staggering difference in the number of people who are at the working age and or who will emerge into the working age in the next few years. Now, this challenge in the developing countries, as seen on the right side of the grid, is quite substantial. The West don't have this problem, right? So the West, in that country, people want to work less. Their need for automation is remote monitoring. They don't want to go even 5 days a week to the factory. On the other hand, in our country, we have such a staggering population who are waiting for a job, waiting for an income, waiting to keep their families' kitchen going. So the choice which we have to make will get tilted to using technology to do more with more people. Now, having recognized this, the government of India, through the Ministry of Heavy Industry, chose the flagship for India called Samarth Udyog. So as you can see, every country has a mission. The Germans had Industry 4.0, the Americans have the AMP, the Chinese have Made in China. Now while we talk a lot about Industry 4.0 and we talk about other terms, including hyper-automation, what we need is to create that focus that whatever package of technologies we are talking, ideally it has to be an India-centric philosophy. So to explain this again in a very simple manner, in manufacturing, the digital transformation comes about through men, machine, and material. And on our panel, we have an eminent speaker from Tata Motors. I'm sure he's going to do more justice to this. But we have always neglected the human element in terms of where the person has evolved and is capable of moving up the value chain. That is an area which needs more attention. And when we talk about generating a transformative experience, it is always the human element which needs to be at the centerpiece. So given that, I'll just take a pause on my slide right now. And what I would talk about is the fact that, if we understand hyper automation as automating everything that needs to be done, if it can be automated, then the focus is on speeding up every activity. Now, there is an adage that speed can thrill, but may also kill. So as a society, we got to be wise. There is already talk of society 5.0, which is happening, which is a human-centric society. Now, if we have to use technology in automation and technology in digitalization, one of the biggest challenges we have is the ability for individuals to span across the spectrum. We have in typical organizations, we have an IT department, and then we have the operationals department, the production, the materials, the maintenance, the quality. Very rarely you find people who can span across both segments. Now, in the emerging world, digitalization, the IT companies and the IT departments of manufacturing companies want to go towards a paperless office. On the shop floor, the 100% paperless environment is not yet achieved. You will have data flowing from machines coming on screens, but after that, there are no standard SOPs in which you are measuring people's response time, you are measuring what has happened when an alert has happened. So what I'm saying is that there has to be a cultural transformation in terms of combining the work environment, which is cutting across the humans, the materials, the machines, having something like a connected work cell, and then for that connected work cell, having a digital standard operating procedure. It is the digital SOP which will be the new avatar or the new DNA of the transformed enterprise. And because we don't have talent, even in engineering colleges, sad to say, there are colleges who have applied to the government to say that allow us to double the seats in the computer science and withdraw the mechanical engineering because computer science is what everybody is craving for. You can't run factories based on computer scientists. I'm sure Tata Motors will tell you that. So we need to look at this talent, whether it is in the ITIs or whether it is in the engineering colleges. We need to create the excitement of the new world. We need to expose our people to both ends, the automation side, the machinery side, the engineering side, the design side, as well as the digital side. And for that, we need centers of excellence. Fortunately, I represent the Foundation for Smart Manufacturing, which is a center incubated by the automation industry, along with IIT Delhi and supported by the Ministry of Heavy Industry. And we would love to, be of any support to any industry or any, college and help them make these sensible choices, the right blend between automation and digitalization. That is where we think India should be headed. And I'll leave you with that. And I'll be happy to take questions when my turn comes. Thank you so much.